Hello, everyone. A couple weeks back, I got a comment on a video called Soknux, which is Knuckles with a Sonic head, to do a tutorial. So that's what I'm doing. Sorry I hadn't gotten around to it yet, but here you go. Now, I usually start with the nose. I'm gonna have to weave around the camera a little bit, but I usually start with the nose. Okay. This is why I'm glad pencils have erasers, and why I'm glad Sonic's nose is black. Now, I color that in as I go, so that way it covers up any mistakes. And then I do his mouth area. That's just so that way I know where to connect the lines. Now this might not look as good as the Soknux video because I'm not used to working like this, but it'll still look good. Now Sonic is always happy, but being that he has Knuckles' body, it's kind of contradictory. Now for the eyes. I usually do that part first, and then that part guides me. See? And now for the pupil parts of the eyes, I call them. I know they're called the apples and pupils of the eyes, but why not just call them pupil parts? And then for the gleam, just drew a little triangle like that. Then for the inner pupil, next eye. See there? And then for the eyebrows, I called them the eyebrows, but I know that hedgehogs and echidnas don't really have eyebrows. They just kind of go with it. And now for the ears. Apologies if you can't see, but this usually takes some adjusting and erasing for me. But yeah, Sonic has nice wide ears. I don't know how the people at Sega do it. They always do it so perfectly on the first try. Maybe it's because they're used to drawing Sonic every day. And then the little triangle in there. And then, since it's facing the opposite direction for the other ear, we don't got to draw a little triangle in there. Okay? Now for Sonic's spikes. I'm going to angle the paper properly so that way you can see it. And that way I can draw it a little easier. That kind of looks proper. About there, I'd say. I once Googled Knuckles with a Sonic head. It only brought up Sonic the Hedgehog and Knuckles the Echidna. Okay, now there's his spikes. I'm gonna erase that little bit there because it's unnecessary right there. Yes, I'm using a mechanical pencil. Makes it a little bit easier instead of having to go to the pencil sharpener every 5 minutes. And there we go, there's the Sonic head. Now, Sonic usually has a little extra spike in there. Just going to draw that in real quick. See? There's the Sonic head. Now, for the... I usually start with Knuckles' spiked knuckles when drawing his fist. Now, for Knuckles, I usually end up drawing his yeah, I'm gonna stop talking right now because it's kind of distracting me. Okay, there we go. And then that kind of works out, I guess. Gonna have to angle that line just a little bit more because I want his arm to be coming from that side. Now, I'm gonna draw the chest and the front of his body. Okay, just a curved line like that. And I've been getting some comments that I like to respond to my comments appropriately, as nicely as I can. But it's on my other channel, I Love Me a Mopar. Go check that out if you have the time. And one person kind of said, my best friend, in these words, my best friend is, oh, right, air. And I, as politely as I could, asked them to please be just a little bit more polite, you know? Because I know I don't really have I don't really have that many friends other than my subscribers and my friends in real life. Well, I know they're my friends in real life, but people have actually met before. And in case you saw that shadow walking by, don't worry, it's not a ghost, it's just a cat. And anyway, yeah. I like to think of my subscribers as my friends. And if you're tuning in, thank you. Really means a lot to me. And okay, please leave a like, comment, and please do subscribe. And there's Knuckles' ring. The original design was supposed to be a white ring around his neck, but it's just like a Nike symbol, as I call it. Kind of looks like yeah, just like that. And on Knuckles, his spikes droop down, which doesn't really leave room for this curve here. But this is a Sonic head, so it's all good. Now I'm going to start drawing his legs, that way I get less confused as I draw. A little more curvature. Okay, now I'm going to try this as best as I can. I'm actually going to pull up the other Soknux drawing here. I call it Soknux because it's a combination of Knuckles and Sonic. Sorry. Just in comparison. Okay. Honestly, the original looks a little bit better. Okay, now, see there? Kind of messed up on the leg a little bit. This is a little bit sharper than there. But it's all good, because now I have a reference. Those really help. I'm going to erase this little bit here. Don't you hate it when you're trying to draw something with a pencil, and then you make a mistake, and then you go to erase it, but the eraser makes just a bigger mess? Okay, now... There's the bottom of his torso. Here's his other leg. I usually start curving more outward with the body when it reaches like the hip around here. I don't really use basic shapes. I like to start with the finished product. Like on my other channel, I'm going to be doing drawing tutorials of like cars, because that channel's supposed to be exclusively cars. Unless I can't film anything else, then I'm just going to be filming like my coffee. But just real quick, check this out. Car. Sorry, I'm funny that way. And number 20, and don't know if you can see that there, but it says Tony Stewart. Fun fact about Tony Stewart real quick, he actually won a race in his rookie year. Back to the Sonic art though. Now, I'm gonna start with the fist again, because it makes it a little bit easier that way. Okay, there's the spikes for the knuckles. Now, imagine that from my point of view. Okay, so then the thumb would be on that side. That's what helps me to draw hands. Sorry I haven't gone live yet. I still haven't figured that out yet. Okay, now, there's the best I could do with his fist. Okay. I'm doing the best I can. I know this rendition looks better. In fact, forget that part. Just forget that ever happened. Obliviate. And I'm gonna fix that there. I erased a little more than I was supposed to. Now up to his shoulder. Yeah. A lot of people say that this is a masterpiece. I appreciate the compliment very much, but I still think that I could do better, you know? And, because, see, I don't believe you stop learning when you graduate, because you never stop learning. From fun facts to shower thoughts to even what tires are made of. You never stop learning. Never truly stop learning, anyway. But that's just my beliefs. Okay, now, here's this sock, what I call the sock, but it's not really looking like a sock, because socks are, you know, thin and liney. And who knows? Maybe for the next art tutorial, I'll show you how I draw movie Sonic. But I will have, like, another phone somewhere around here as a reference, because the first time I can get it. But it's weird. With me, the second time, I need a reference. Guess it just helps me to know that the reference is there. Cause see how many mistakes I was making before? And with the reference here, I actually fixed all those. Now back to the drawing. And okay. Now for the socks on this foot slash leg. In case you're wondering, yes, I will be coloring it during the video too. I know it's not as good as, oh, fudge. Wrong side. Let me just fix that real quick. I'm doing my best. Trust me. I'm doing my best. There we go. That actually fixed it for me. Fixed it good. And then this little lump here. Okie dokie there. Eh? Sorry. If you're Canadian, I apologize if that offended you. Just, if you're a Canadian viewer, I apologize if that offended you. I do not aim to offend anyone. Hi, Milo. See, he says hi back. Now, I noticed that the strap on Sonic's shoes goes out just a little bit, so I'm going to draw that just real quick. Okie dokie then. Okay, now this. No, that's not his buckle. His buckle's on the outside of the shoe. Almost everyone knows that. And if you don't know that, now you do. If I were live streaming this and someone just tuned in, they probably would have missed that. And, write my drawing 1 to 10 in the comments. Now, I noticed that Sonic's shoes are a little bit pointy for aerodynamic purposes. So that's what I'm doing. This looks a little awkward until I draw the soles. Let me know in the comments if you want me to draw movie Sonic next. Now for the buckles. Since it has a little bit of depth on the buckles, this is what I draw. Okay, now we go. I'm pretty... Oh! The tail. See why it helps to have a reference? I noticed that Knuckles' tail kind of looks like a lightning bolt. Or maybe like he sat on it at a point. But there we go. Now the drawing part is done. Now to pull out my colored pencils. You could get these at Walmart in the school supplies section. Now I'm just gonna dump these out real quick so that way you can see at the time what what colored pencil I'm using. Oh, there was still one in there. The orange one. Okay, now as you can see, I used this red colored pencil to color this one in. And I did the eyes red as well for some reason. I don't know. Guess my brain just for a second. But yeah. Now there we go. Apologies if I color outside the lines a little bit. Can't really see too well. Okay. There we go for that one. And now to use the pointy part for the little detailed stuff. And then for the larger stuff like the torso or the spikes, you could just do this. I'm going to pause the recording for a second because I need a pencil sharpener, as you can see, and I'll be right back. There's the pause button. I'm back. Did you miss me? Anyways, back to coloring. Now, just do the torso, the tail, just marking that prematurely, I guess. And then the shoes, oh yeah, and the head. Sorry. Now, for the shoes, here's a special trick I use to make them look shiny. You can also do shading pretty easy with the mechanical pencil. See? Yeah, they look nice and shiny even though they're black and white, right? Let me know your answer in the comments. I know you physically right now don't have any way of answering that other than the comment section. You can leave multiple comments if you want. There's no problem with that. I'm going to color the tail real quick. It's just bugging me that it's almost done, but it's not completely done. Like boiled eggs for breakfast. Soft boiled. Really? If you're someone who enjoys that, I'm glad you like it. But I don't really care for it, to be honest. Like my chicken dead deep fried. Just kidding. That was a Rush Hour reference. Now coloring in the leg. Just quick and easy. Now the ring, well, this part here, you leave white. There's a couple times I've made the mistake of not leaving it white, and it just looked out of place as heck, and I regretted it. But yeah. Here we go. There's the torso and the arms and legs. Now I'm going to move my way up to the head. How did I already use that much? Oh well. It is art. Da Vinci didn't ask how did I use that much paint while painting the Mona Lisa, did he? Don't answer that. Because he probably did. Or maybe not, you know? I usually color around everything that isn't supposed to be red or any other color first, so that way I don't make the mistake of crossing the line. And okay, now around the ears. Now, sorry, bumped the camera with my head. How's it looking so far? Apologies, I moved the paper a little bit. But yeah, how's it looking so far? Alrighty then. I'm working on the consistency of my colors. And this is the one. If I already said this, then you can go ahead and skip like 10 or 20 seconds, or maybe 30 at this point. But this is the request of someone that I think may have subscribed to my channel. If they did, I appreciate it. Thank you. But if not, please do. And anyway, this is their request. And yeah, sorry I hadn't gotten around to it quite yet. I had other videos and posts to get to, sorry. I really can't apologize enough for tardiness. Now there's... Oh! I thought that for a second that was all the red that I needed. Nope, forgot the shoes. Okay. If you want to, you can also choose which areas to leave lighter than the rest as a direction for the light to come from. But as for me, I just color the entire thing in with just pencil. Now, for the buckles of the shoes, we're just going to want to use the yellow colored pencil. But before we do that, we're going to color light brown. Like, lightly color it brown, not like light brown. Because there's different shades of brown, if you don't know. There's brown, darker brown, black. There's coffee, mocha cappuccino, latte, espresso, and there's a lot of coffee shades. But in the end, they're all brown. Unless you count like night sky black. So anyway, just lightly color this in brown. Just very lightly. Here's a t-shirt that I once saw. It's Bob Ross standing there in front of one of his very famous paintings. It says, "Ever make mistakes in life? Let's make them birds." Yeah, they're birds now. And then we're gonna color that yellow. That way it gives it like a gold. Because the color gold is literally just a combination of yellow and brown. Okay, now, green. I'm going to use darker green for the shadowing here. I know the leg isn't centered in the sock, but I'm doing my best, like I say. Now for the cuffs, not like handcuffs, like comfortable, like this. See, this is a cuff. Hey, want to hear a joke? I know you probably already saw it, but like in my community page. But what would you call a famous martial artist if he was a tree? Write what you think is the punchline in the comments. Okay. Spruce Lee. Here's another one. What is a tree's favorite snack? Wood chips. Now, back to the mechanical pencil, just for a minute, to color in the pupils. It's not really that hard to see black against red. For those of you that don't know, my dream car is, I actually have a few of them, but they're all classic American muscle cars. First off, there's the 1970 Plymouth Hemi-Cuda. I know this is an AAR that I built, but still it's a Plymouth Barracuda. And another one is the 1969 Dodge Charger RT. This is the funny car model kit that I built. Something unfortunate happened during the building process. Like when I was adding the finishing touches, I put the rear window somewhere, and I don't know where it went. So that's a little bit unfortunate. And one of the only Chevys that I like, other than the 57 Chevy Bel Air, or like the like the 2017 Chevrolet Camaro, is the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SSRS 427. And I actually designed an engine myself called the Hemi 500. As you can imagine, it's a 500 cubic inch hemispheric combustion engine V8, but my design has two 4-cylinder distributors. I know that complicates it a little bit, but it makes it that much more awesome, don't you think? Let me know in the comment section below again. And back to the coloring. I use orange for the mouth area and the belly area when there is one, and the ears. But I do it really lightly, like this. Just watch. You're gonna notice that it kind of looks like a peach color. And I noticed when I was at the store that peaches are actually just a very light shade of orange. So this is what I do. And just in there. There we go. Alrighty then. And there we go. Just gonna add my signature. Sorry, if you noticed that I jumped, it's because my phone gave me a notification that it's only at 15% battery. So, yeah, I'm gonna end the video, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters!